Tonight we'll be hearing from Brandon Williams, a veteran NFL tight end, collegiate football for the Oregon Ducks. His 5-year NFL career included stints with the Carolina Panthers, Miami Dolphins, Seattle Seahawks, and the Indianapolis Colts. A leader on and off the field, tonight Brandon shares how God has shown up in his story, proving that your highlight reel is not the ultimate measure of significance. In sharing his journey, Brandon emphasizes that life's true highlights are found in faith, resilience, and the unwavering support of a higher power. Please welcome to the High Def stage, Brandon Williams.
High Def 2024, how we doing, y'all? We doing good? Awesome. Well, hey, you guys, I am super excited to be here with Brandon Williams. Man, thank you so much for being here with us at High Def this year. How you feeling?
I feel great. It's an honor to be here. Thank you. You guys are so blessed. I wish I had something like this when I was a kid. I'm so jealous.
Yeah,
the energy in here is amazing.
Yeah, we were talking backstage. We didn't have anything like this when we were in student ministry and growing up and stuff like that.
Not at all. What a blessing, but it's really dope.
Yeah, you feel like you can match the energy level?
I don't know, man.
Awesome. Well, hey, you guys, we are going to go ahead and start kind of diving into kind of the theme for session 1 tonight. And that's really walking through the question, am I enough? That's what we're going to be talking about. That's what Jackson's going to be talking about here in a minute, just because I think all of us, right, can relate to asking that question at some point in our life, right? Like, am I good enough? Am I fast enough? Am I strong enough? Am I enough for God to still want to use me? And this question is asked in a variety of different ways. And so, Brandon, man, for you, when was a time in your life where you really wrestled with that question, am I enough?
So to be honest, I've had multiple occasions in my life where I wrestled with that question. But the one time in particular that really stands out the most to me and that has had the most impact on my life, even to this day, is my transition from high school to adulthood. For starters, I barely graduated high school. You know, I kind of hung out with the wrong people, made some bad decisions, and kind of figured it out my senior year. And I remember the day of graduation, I was praying to God. I was like, please, God, let me graduate. And through the grace of God, I was able to graduate. And you know, I ended up going to a junior college, which was like my second chance on life. You know, it was an opportunity for me to make my family proud and get my life together. And I faced a decent amount of obstacles and objections during junior college, but through the grace of God, I ended up being an All-American in junior college, ended up getting a scholarship to the University of Oregon.
There you go, go Ducks.
Go Ducks. I graduated from my junior college, and so it was a dream come true. And then my first year there, I was blessed with the opportunity to play in the national championship. You know, a kid that barely graduated high school to be on such a big stage.
Yeah.
It was a dream come true. So then fast forward a year later, I'm going into my senior year, spring ball. I ended up getting hurt. I had a spinal cord injury. And I didn't think anything of it. I went home for summer vacation. After summer vacation, we're about to start training camp. Doctors pull me aside and they say, hey man, I don't think you're gonna play football this year. I was like, wait, what do you mean I'm not playing football this year? Like, this is my whole life. This is what got me here. And I just remember I was devastated. Like, I felt like I lost my best friend. And I thought, you know, I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna play another sport. I played basketball, high school, junior college. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the coach, try out, and you know, get my degree and finish my college career playing basketball. So tried out, made the basketball team, go through all of the summer league, practicing, getting ready for the season.
Things would turn around, getting excited about the upcoming season.
Yeah. And then right before the season started, the NCAA sent me a letter saying that I had to either forfeit my scholarship because I was on a medical scholarship and basketball didn't have any more scholarships to give, and become a walk-on, or I couldn't play basketball.
Man.
So again, I was heartbroken. I was like, dang, first I found out I can't play football. Now you telling me I can't play basketball. Like, what am I doing, God? Like, what's going on here? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be positive, give you another chance, God. And so I was like, I'm gonna get my degree. Got my degree. I loved law enforcement. I was super passionate about it. My dad was in law enforcement for 30 plus years. So I was like, all right, I want to be a police officer, protect and serve. I had networked with a police commander of the Portland Police Bureau He told me, he was like, hey man, I got a job for you. You just move down here. You can get like a temporary job. So I was like, all right. So I moved down to Portland. I got a security job. And then I had a year of eligibility left. I went to a Bible college and I finished out my basketball career while trying to become a police officer, going through the process. So I took all the tests, passed all the tests. I'm thinking, okay, good. I'm about to be in law enforcement. And then about a month in the process, I hadn't heard anything. And then I get a letter saying that I got disqualified from the process. And I was like, what? Like, God, sports was everything for me. I had to be okay with not playing. The one thing that was an outlet for me and that gave me opportunity to live out some of my dreams. And now you telling me I don't have a career either? And I was devastated. I couldn't figure it out. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep pushing. So I finished my basketball season. I applied for a few more police departments. And then in the meantime, I was like, I just want to give myself some closure. I did a regional combine, did well, got invited to the super regional. And then my agent said, hey, the Carolina Panthers want to bring you out for a workout. So I was like, man, really?
Go.
Like, okay, God.
And
so
going into it thinking that you're going to get closure, was that anywhere on your mind of like, I might get somewhere
not
doing
at all.
this? Or was it really just thinking like, this will just tie a bow to my mind, is like not even thinking like those what ifs later on down the line?
Yeah, I just wanted to close the door and truly accept in my heart that God had something else for me.
Sure.
So I get down to Carolina, I do a workout, I do well. And the general manager comes to me, he's like, we like you, we want to bring you on, but hey, you had a spinal cord injury in college. We want you to get reevaluated by another doctor. So I was like, okay. So I get an MRI. They keep me there another day. They said that doctor's going to look at my MRI the following day, right? So I wake up the next day. I'm excited. I'm like, man, I'm about to live out my dream. I get a call, and they're like, I'm sorry, but the doctor that was supposed to look over your MRI, he just had a massive heart attack, so we're sending you home.
Man.
So I'm like, really? Like, come on, God. And it was to the point where, like, I kind of gave up hope. It was just like, well, I guess, maybe I'm not enough. Maybe God just wants me to work security for the rest of my life. So I went back to Portland, and probably 2 weeks in, I was kind of depressed. And I remember I got up like 10:30 at night, I used the bathroom, and I checked my phone. I had a voicemail from my agent. And my agent was like, hey, Brandon, the Carolina Panthers looked at your MRI and they want to sign you. You flying out tomorrow. And man, I sometimes even thinking about it, it almost brings me to tears. And through the grace of God, I flew out. I made the team my first year and never looked back.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. And so, man, I appreciate, like, one of the things that sticks out to me about your story in explaining how there were those times in your life where you felt like you weren't enough. Like, a lot of the things that you just mentioned, right, were things that were completely outside of your control, from like barely graduating, and then the injuries, the kind of fluke of getting pulled from the police academy, and then like the no from the NFL, then the yes. Like, that feels like a lot of things that were outside of your control that really had an influence on asking that question in your life of, man, am I enough? And I know many of us in the room can probably relate to asking that question based off things that are completely out of our control. And so when you think back to those times where you're getting those phone calls where it was those no's, what feelings do you remember having in those moments?
To be honest, I was overwhelmed with a lot of emotion. The first thing that I could think of was I was angry. I was like, man, why me? I work so hard. This ain't fair, And then, after the anger subsided, the next thing was sadness. I was really sad because I felt like, I worked hard. I thought that God was taking me down this path. I envisioned my life to go this way, and then, I got derailed. So it was rough. And then also, too, my faith, it kind of wavered a little bit. I was always a man of God, even from a young age, but that was the first time that my faith had truly been tested.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, right, hindsight's always 20/20. Now being able to, like we've been doing, like looking back on your life, you can see how all the no's and all the things were eventually leading to the opportunity with the Panthers, right? And being able to look back. You don't see that in the moment, right? And that's what's so frustrating is that. But then when you look back on it, it's like you kind of have this clear line of kind of how you expect your life to go. But then maybe there's left turns or right turns that you didn't see coming that are through those no's. And so, man, like through that experience and how your faith has grown today, what does that really look like for you? How can you look back now and answer that question, am I enough, through your experience and through just seeing God working in your life?
So it's had a huge impact on my life. I feel like, going through a lot of that adversity has made me the man that I am today. And I'm grateful for it. At the time, I couldn't understand like what God's plan was for me. A lot of times we envision our life to go a certain path and we think there's only one way to get there, right? But the reality of it is God has his plan, and that's the most important. And I was able to understand that I need to follow him and surrender my life to him and truly trust in him. And I think back to, if I would have got the job as a police officer, I would have never got an opportunity to make it to the NFL.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes he tells you no because he has something better for you.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And so, man, one last question before we wrap up here. But if there is anyone out here that is really wrestling with that question right now of like, am I enough? What would you say to them?
I would say, number one, most importantly, always put your faith in God. God can do tremendous things in your life. He's taken me, a kid who barely graduated high school, to playing in the national championship, to being in the NFL and living my dreams. So number one, put your faith in God, trust in him, and don't give up. I mean, life's tough. You're gonna be faced with a lot of objections and obstacles, but you gotta keep pushing. And if you ever feel like you're not enough, understand that, number one, you are enough, but you don't have to be enough if you're dependent on God, and that's what he wants us to be, is dependent on him.
Yeah, I love that we are enough because God is enough for us. I appreciate that. Well, man, we're so thankful for you to be here. Y'all give it up for Brandon for being here with us at High Def 2024. Man, thank you so much for being here, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.